Good afternoon, everyone. I apologize for starting this session late. We ran a little late in our previous session where we were reviewing multi-currency with Robert Mejia. I do apologize. It was a lack of organization. I thought we were going to be able to fit in all the content, but we went over for some minutes. Thank you all for being here. Your support for this customer day, it's been amazing. This year, of course, consensus is growing, but also you are responding fantastically to this customer day. We really appreciate all of you being here, your feedback. You help us improve our content, which we make for you. And we're really happy to see you. Short reminders that all sessions are being recorded. They will be available later. An invitation to connect with us on social media so that you have immediate access to all the content that we generate for you. So you are one of the first to know when a new webinar is coming up, or we have a new article with a how-to guide or a new SAP Business One tip. And as well, a reminder to participate in the giveaway raffle that we will celebrate later today in the afternoon at, I think it's at 4:30. It's scheduled. So the more sessions you have attended and rated within the customer day, the more opportunities you have to win a remarkable tablet, which is an amazing tool that I'm sure you all will love. I have with me today, I'm sorry I'm not using the right presentation, I think, but I have with me today two representatives of the consulting team. Marisa Molina is our consulting director, and also with us today is Hannah Carey, who is one of our consultants that is junior in age, but with a lot of experience and knowledge in SAP Business One. Thank you both for being here with me today.
It's really nice to be here with you, Clarita, and with our attendees. Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Marisa, you already introduced yourself yesterday, but we might have some users in this session that did not attend the landed cost sessions yesterday. So would you mind introducing yourself to the attendees and what your role is at Consensus today?
Okay, thank you, Clarita. I've been with Consensus and actually with SAP Business One as well since 2007. So basically it is over 16 years now of experience. Basically doing implementations for SAP Business One. Now I am very honored to be leading the team, the consulting team. So yes, we bring a lot of new talent like Hannah, let's say, recently to our team. Just in 2023, we have brought in 5 new members to the team. So we are very pleased that our team is growing and with a lot of expertise in different areas, just to provide the best services that we can. So yes, that's I really enjoy what I do. I'm passionate about SAP Business One. Yes, and nerd. Yeah. So,
when I try to explain what I do for work and what Consensus does, I always say we are a group of very passionate people about technology. Not everybody knows what SAP Business One is, but I think, of course, SAP Business One is our core software that we support and we help companies. But I always highlight, because I think it's really, that's what sets us apart, is the passion that we all feel for service and for helping our customers get the best out of their system. Marisa, in your case, what is the thing that you like the most about your job?
The thing that one of the things that I love about what I do, it is that I'm always learning. So sometimes when, even with my kids, I used to tell them, if you are in the same position for 5 years, it is not like you have 5 years of experience, maybe 2 or 3, and the other 2 could be more of the same. Mm-hmm. But being an SAP consultant, it is 16 plus years of experience. We are in front of different cases, different scenarios, different industries. So now we know a lot about different industries and different sectors, manufacturing, distribution, importing goods, transformation, financial services, every type of industry. So I love it. I really love it. I keep on learning. And let me tell you, at my age, it's really nice to keep on learning. I know that there is still a lot to learn. Yes.
Keep on learning. That keeps us young, I think.
Well, thank you, Clarita, for that.
Hannah, you don't need to be any younger than you are, of course, but you are learning, I think, still very much, but you already know so much. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Sure. So my name's Hannah and I'm located in Phoenix, Arizona. So my SAP experience started back in college when I was working towards my degree. St. Vincent College also has an SAP program that you can do in addition to that. So I got involved with that, really liked it, had some roles out of college and support, project management, implementation, and I ended up at Consensus, and I am so happy to be here.
Fantastic, Hannah. Thank you so much. So today we are sharing with all of you some tips and tricks, and please bear in mind the following. In past Consensus annual customer days, it was Marisa. For many years, it was Marisa presenting the tips for our customers. This year, we've put together different tips. Some are introduced by me, others by Hannah, and by other consultants. And we are also mixing tips for a little bit more advanced users, but also tips for beginners, because that's one of the feedbacks that we received in previous years, letting us know that, you know, most of the content in the customer day is a little bit advanced, and that users would like to see also some content for beginners. However, I think it's always a good reminder or refresher, and even if it's a tip that you've seen in the past, maybe it just you get reminded to use it a little bit more. So Marisa and Hannah are here with me today. You're going to see this mix of tips, and if you have any question, they will be here with us at the end of the presentation. And if you have any question, just let us know. You can use the Q&A functionality in Zoom, and we will try to get to your questions at the end of this presentation. Again, thank you so much for being here with us. And thank you, Marisa and Hannah, as well.
See you, Clarita, and thank to all of you for being part of this day. Thank you.
Thank you. Both in the sales and the purchase module, we have the return request functionality. And I want to show you how you can use this document in the scenario of the sales module. Let's say that one of our customers calls and they have received our order, and for some reason they are complaining about an item. Maybe they received it and it wasn't, you know, the printer was not working, or they also complained that they received the wrong number of keyboards. Maybe they hadn't ordered as many, and there was a mistake in the order, and they want to return 3. But we still don't have those items in our warehouse, so we don't want to create a return yet. And in this case, we can create this return request where we actually can capture the information that the customer is giving us, and that we will then link to a return that will then affect our inventory and put the items back in our stock. So for now, we have the information about the customer, we have the information about the items, we have, as you know, a lot of information here that we can include. And I want to show you, if you go to the form settings, we can also add these two fields, return reason and return action, that actually allow us to define different reasons. For instance, I'm going to say this one is defective, and I'll choose this one. And for the keyboards, I'm going to create a new too many, only order 10, for instance. And also I can choose what the return action is going to be. So I can say that the printer I need to repair, and the keyboards, they really want to return them. So I create this return request, and it gives it a number like all the documents in SAP Business One. So this could be my reference. So before finalizing my call with my customer, I can tell them, I've created a return request for you. It's number 2 for your reference. Then when the day comes and we actually receive the printer and the keyboards back in our warehouse, we go to our system and we want to create a return. Let me remember, the customer was Maxitech. So since I already created the return request, I can copy from. I choose number 2. And now all the information is going to be copied into my return. And once I add my return, that's when the inventory is going to be affected. Many times, especially in the last 2 months of the year, we receive requests from customers because they're getting the error message, date deviates from permissible range. We find that most of the times the problem lays in the way the posting periods were created in SAP Business One for that fiscal year in the company of the user. I'm going to show you an example. Now we are in November, so I am creating an AR invoice for my customer Maxitech, and the due date for this invoice is going to fall within the next fiscal year, so 2024. Already, the system is giving me the error of the date deviating from its permissible range. In order to see if the problem lays where I'm going to show you, you can simply type in posting periods on your menu, or you can also find the posting periods window if you go to administration, system initialization, and posting periods. I'm going to minimize this window from the AR invoice, and here we have the posting periods window. We are going to go to the posting period that we're actually working with, which is November of 2023. So I click on the golden arrow, and I see that in this case, the problem lays in this field from the due date from and to. When we define a posting period or a sub period, as in this case for a month, it's very important that on the due date from and to, on the to field, we choose a date from the following fiscal year. So in this case, it would be from 2024 instead of 2023. If we don't do this, the system won't allow any transactions to be posted with a due date that falls in the next year. So we're going to change this. I'm going to update this, but before clicking on update, I want to make sure that you understand that it's very important that you only change the due date from. If you decide to change any of the other dates and you choose a 2024 date for any of the other dates, this will make it impossible for you to create posting periods for 2024 correctly. The posting dates from and to, or the document date from and to, cannot overlap with another posting period. So if by mistake you update to a 2024 date any of the other fields, you could be in trouble. So this troubleshooting and this updating of the to on the due date should be done by the person who defines posting periods in your company and should be done with a lot of care. We're going to just take this step now. We're going to update this to 2024 and then we click OK and we open again. This was not it. We're going to see the same invoice that we wanted to add before. We're going to click add a new. And now the transaction is completed successfully. This next tip is probably one of my favorites. It's something I have recently learned and I just love it. When you are doing a search in SAP Business One, let's say that we are working with our item master data and we want to generate a report. I'm just going to generate a report with all my items. And let's pretend that I have an enormous list of items and it's very hard for me to find the information that I'm looking for. As you know, whatever the columns you see on this report, when you generate it, you can use those columns to filter. So you could, for instance, from this list that we're seeing right now, we could say, I want to see only items that are greater than, in their item number, they are greater than, let's say, C00010. Okay, so if we filter, then the system is only showing us whatever is greater than that value. And if you can't find the column that you want to filter by, you can always go to form settings right here, and you can add additional fields to your report so that you can then later filter by those columns. So you can, depending on your report and your needs, you might update it with additional columns. After you have used the form settings, you will need to close that view of the report and just generate it again. And then you'll see all those available columns that you've added, and you will be able to filter by those columns. They will be added here. And as you saw, the number of columns is large, so you can play around with it, and it's a very nice way of looking for information. But what if I told you that there is a quicker way of looking for exactly what you're looking for without having to play so much with the filtering? So one basic thing that you can do using the asterisk and the find function with SAP Business One is that you can just type in a keyword. And for instance, I'm going to use this here in the description because regularly we use descriptive words on the description field. So I'm going to say, please show me anything in my list that has this word somewhere. So I am now seeing a shorter list that contains this word, the word disk. So now I want to show you something else. There are certain pairs of letters that are keywords for your search that allow you to filter. I'm going to show you what they are. I have them here for you. So if you type in these pairs of letters, the system is already going to filter with these values. One note, very important, is if you have within your data, you have these combinations of letters in your master data. For instance, if I'm going to use smaller than, but you do have an item that starts with LT, this one will not work. But if your items or your business partners do not contain these pairs of letters, then you can use them. My favorite one is the ends with, because I think in my case, I'm a little disorganized sometimes. So being able to find something by what the item description ends with would really help. And this is something I didn't know I could do. So I'm really enjoying it. Let me show you how it works. So you would just enter here both letters. And let's say that we've added some new items to our item master data, and the person who created them added the word new at the end of the description. So how can I find those items? So I enter this filter, and look at that. It's only showing me items that end with the word new. I'm going to bring the notepad again so that you can take a note of all the filters that you can use really, really quick without even having to use the filter function in SAP Business One.
Next up, we'll be moving on to some tips regarding dates. So these tips regarding dates will be very useful for anyone who enters a lot of data and orders into SAP. So to showcase these, let's go ahead and open a marketing document. And let's run through this scenario as if we're an end user who is entering a sales order and needs to specify some of these dates. So if we want to specify today, we can press any letter key and tab, and it'll automatically populate with today's date. If we want to type in a date later in the month, we could press 22 and tab, and the system automatically pulls in the 22nd day of the current month. So say, for example, the delivery date, we want to deliver this 1 month out. So what I can do is I can key it in manually. I can use this feature to count 4 weeks and select the correct date. Or what I could do is use this quick shortcut and key in +1M tab, and it will automatically calculate 1 month out. In addition, we could do this in terms of days. We could do +7 days. We could also do plus 1 year. And this makes it a bit quicker rather than manually typing this in and having a bunch of clicks, or having more clicks this way and navigating through the calendar. So if you're a user who adds a lot of documents, this tip can be very helpful to speed up your data entry. Another tip we have for you today is regarding the Common Functions widget. Specifically, we will show how you can put custom queries in this widget. Many of you may already be familiar with the Common Functions widget and its purpose. So let's quickly take a look at this and then we'll move on to the main part of our tip. So this Common Functions is a good place for your most common documents, master data, or reports to reside. So when you wish to add something to your Common Functions, it's as easy as finding something that you use a lot in the system, such as the Open Items List report, dragging it into this widget, and then clicking on it in the future. We can also remove items from the Common Functions just as easily. So you can see that we used a standard out-of-the-box report and moved it to our Common Functions. A question that I have received before is, what if, as an end user, you have a custom query that someone on your team or consensus wrote for you, and you use it a lot, and you'd like to have it here as well for as few clicks as possible? So there is a way to do that, and we will walk through this tip together. So the first thing we have to do is we have to get this custom query moved over to the modules. Then once it's moved over as a folder option on the modules here, then we can drag and drop it into our Common Functions. So let's go ahead and find a query to use as a test example. And let's press Assign to Menu. And this is the step where we assign where we wish to see it over here on our menu. We can change the name at this point. I'll keep it the same for simplicity. And this is where we choose which module we want it to fall under. So since this report is regarding sales orders, I'll put it under the sales module under sales reports. Next, we get to choose the position. So I'll place at the bottom, but I want to show you what this means. We can go under our sales report folder, and this is where we specify the order that our query will appear in within the existing items in our module. So let's go ahead and place it at the bottom. Let's update. You can see the modules go away for a second and refresh, and our change should have taken effect. So let's go ahead back into the sales reports. Let's go to the bottom here, and we can see our custom query now exists. So to wrap up this tip, the last thing we have to do is now drag and drop our custom query into our Common Functions. And now moving forward, this can be accessed much more easily through this widget rather than navigating through the modules and the subfolders over here. Some of the tips that I've covered so far have been very important and useful to end users who are in the system every day and inputting a lot of data. For example, the Common Functions and the date inputs. However, now we'll transition over to a tip that will be most helpful to a super user or someone in an SAP administrator role. In SAP, we are going to take a look at two functions that I don't see commonly used. So we'll point these out for you today because they are a bit tucked away in the system and we will see if this can be useful for scenarios at your company. The first is the connected clients. So the connected clients is an overview of who is currently connected to your system. So this gives us good insight and an overview of who is currently connected. Say, for example, the database needs to be refreshed and we need to confirm that all users are signed out. This provides us a way to force disconnect users out of the system. So the connected clients gave us a snapshot of who is currently connected, and now we'll look at the access log, and this gives us more historical information. So this is tucked away over in Tools, Access Log. And you can see here, it returns a list of all users in the system. We can take a look at my user, for example, and we can confirm that I am a super user, my user is not locked out, and it shows my latest login today, confirming that it was a success, and I did not have any failed password attempts. In addition, you can see when the password was last changed and my latest logoff. So, as a super user or SAP administrator, this is really helpful to see who may need help resetting their SAP password, keeping an overview of how often people log into the system. For example, if your organization is quite large, this can be really helpful to see if there's been a user who isn't utilizing the system as often as you expected. For example, let's check out our latest login, and Fred Beyer hasn't logged in for quite some time. So our super user could decide that we can take his license and assign it to another user who we want to begin using SAP so that it's not wasted with the user who is not active in the system.
Our next topic today for this webinar is how to reopen closed documents. So we all had this problem before, probably when we create a sales order and we deliver it. Deliver the sales order, and then when we check it out, we realize that we make a mistake in here. So in order to cancel the delivery note, we could cancel the document or copy it to return. I'm just going to create a return. And what's happening here is that if I go back to my original sales order and refresh it, I can see the status is closed. And if I jump again in the delivery and refresh it, also the status is closed. But hold a moment, if I create a return document for this delivery, why my sales order is still closed? I surely don't want to create another sales order, but I want to deliver it again, and this time I want to make sure that the delivery note is correct. So in order to make this happen, I should have activated the feature which is under Administration, System Initialization, document settings, on per document tab, I can choose the sales order and use this feature. Reopen documents by creating returns, good returns, create memos based on documents. And I can either choose without user confirmation or with the user confirmation. I would like to choose without user confirmation now and update. Okay, so if I updated the document settings and if I start this process all over again by creating a sales order, I'm going to choose MaxiTech customer, put the item, and put the delivery date. Save the document. And now copy to a delivery note. I just doing exactly the same that I did in the previous example. So create delivery and I go back to the sales order. The status is close as I expected. Perfect. And if I copy the delivery to the return, because I make a mistake and I refresh, close, but now if I refresh the sales order, the status is open. So I just can go here and create the delivery again, and I make the necessary changes and make sure that I don't do the same mistake what I did before. Yes. So now relationship map, it's okay.
Hello, Jaime here. Today I want to tell you about a very useful and interesting function called for boxes in SAP. And there you can set an useful information related to master data. So let's say you're creating AR invoices or any other marketing document and you need to check the federal tax ID of the customer and the balance. So let's move to models, sales, and AR invoice. I'm going to check this one, and here we have the federal tax ID and the account balance for this business partner. Normally you will enter to the customer and check this value, but using for notes easily you can drag and drop these fields at the bottom screen, and every time you change the document or search a new one, it will prompt it with the correspondent info. So let's hold the select into the field and drag to the four boxes, and let's do the same with the account balance. Drag and drop, there it is. And every time I enter on one document or any other document, we'll have refresh information related to the customer. I hope this tip will be useful for you. Thank you so much.
One scenario that we've seen in support and we want to help you avoid is users inadvertently making changes to master data. What is very important in order to explain how this might happen and how to avoid it is to understand the difference between master data, transactional data, and analytical data. Your business captures all these types of data, and basically master data represent the actual critical business objects upon which your transactions are performed. So in the scenario that I'm sharing on my screen, which is an AR invoice, there is a customer that has purchased certain items, and customer, the contact person, the items, the tax code, all those are master data. They respond to definitions done by your company. The quantity of items, the specific price for this transaction, and other things like the dates, those are transactional data because they pertain to this document only, and they might change in a different document. And analytical data are all of these combined, and how through calculations or analysis that we run later, we can see these in a report. But the important thing and the hint that I want to share with you today is that SAP Business One shows a golden arrow whenever you have master data on the neighbor field. If you click on the golden arrow, this will take you to actually the master data card for this code. So this code in your company means this customer with these specific properties, etc. If you make changes here in a master data card or a setup card, these changes will apply in all open documents, in all open transactions, and going forward forever. And that is what's very, very important to understand. So any change you make after clicking on a golden arrow will forever affect what comes up and what information does the system bring when you choose this code again in a different document or a different department uses that code. So I want to share some examples, some real examples that we've experienced here in support, and this is what I want you to be aware of. For instance, let's imagine that this customer has been assigned by default the payment term cash. So the user is aware that in this case, something else was agreed with the customer, and they want to apply net 10 days to this specific transaction. So they have two options. First, I'm going to show the correct way of changing the payment term for a specific transaction. Cash should be still by default assigned to this customer. If that is not the case anymore, you should go to the business partner master data and change it at the business partner master data level. But this change that we're going to make only affect this document, and that's the scenario that we are showing today. So remember that we want to change the payment terms for this invoice only for this customer. The correct way of doing that would be to click on the little drop-down menu arrow and not on the golden arrow, but on this drop-down menu to see what are the options for payment terms for this customer that our company has already defined. So we find cash, net 15, net 30, net 45, net 60, prepayment. We can't find net 10, and that is what we want to apply. We can define new. So we're going to define new, and we're going to create net 10. And we define what this is going to mean for this customer and any other customer. When us or a different user choose net 10, that's what this is going to mean. If you see the dates, if you were paying attention to the dates, the system has already updated the due date to 10 days after the posting date. If I go and I change it again and I choose cash, it shows the same date where I'm posting the document for the due date. If I change to net 10, it shows 10 days. So this is the correct way of doing this change. But let's pretend that the user was not aware of where master data is and how it works. And the change occurs in this manner. The user comes here, they see that cash is the payment term assigned to this transaction in this document, and they want to change it. They click on the golden arrow and they make the change here. They say 10 days. This is what I need for this document. And they click update. Please note that the window is called setup. Okay, so this is already a hint. So this that we're doing is not the correct way, because I'm going to show you what happens next. So now let's choose net 60 and let's go back and choose cash. You see what the system does? The system now understands, because we've changed the definition of cash, not only for this customer, but for every other customer, for all open transactions in which the payment term was cash, it's going to be updated to 10 days because someone inadvertently changed master data. We are going to revert this change. And this is what you should do if you realize that someone or you as a user have made a change in the master data. You should revert, but any document that was opened and that applied the cash, you need to go choose a different one and then choose again. And now we see that it's fixed. But if any document was changed during the period between that change in master data and the moment that you realize that, you're going to have to revert doing something else, because if transactions were already closed, that cannot be changed. So this is why we want you to be aware that making changes to master data impacts everything going forward every time that that category or that object is used in a document. So please be very careful. Inform all your users about this. You can also apply authorizations so that not all users are able to change master data, but authorizations in SAP Business One is a little bit complex, so you should always combine it with this knowledge of understanding that when you want to change the option in one of these fields that have a golden arrow, you always have two options. You can click on the golden arrow, and that should only be used to actually gain information about that master data, not to change it. If you want to choose a different option, you have the drop-down menu at the other end of the field, or in some fields, instead of clicking the golden arrow, you want to choose a different business partner, for instance, here, you can click anywhere else in the field, and then you'll see the little bubble. So if you want to make changes, use the little bubble or the drop-down menu, okay? That is going to show you what is already available for you, defined in your system, and you make those changes with already defined and valid data instead of changing master data, which could create a little chaos for you. Thank you so much. When a user is not able to do the work that he's supposed to do in the system, it's important to understand that it might be due to different factors and how to identify which one is causing the issue at the time. The first option that could be limiting a user from doing a specific work is the type of license that they have been assigned. As you know, SAP Business One has professional licenses, which have full visibility and full access to all modules and can then be limited by authorizations. And also SAP Business One limited licenses, which are either CRM, logistics, or financial. How do we know that the issue that is preventing the user from performing the operation that they need to perform on the system is related to a license issue? It shows as a red bar error message at the bottom of your screen. The error reads, "You cannot open window with your current license." If you are unsure of what license you need to assign to a specific user, you can always check SAP's license comparison chart. If you don't have one, please send us an email to support@consensusintl.com so we can send you one. And what you will see is the different modules listed here, and then what type of access comes with the type of license. So you have professional. As you see, professional has full visibility and access to all modules. And then you have limited CRM, limited logistics, or limited financials. They each have different type of access. Their access is limited, so it's not to all modules. And they do respond to roles, to typical roles within companies. So if you manage financials, you might only need a financial license. If at some point you need to change, you purchased a financial limited license, but you need a logistic limited license instead, we can always change one for the other. You need to send an email to support@consensusintl.com. You let us know the user, the type of license, the new type of limited license that you want to change that to, and the user that it needs to be assigned to, and we can do that for you. In some cases, you might need to upgrade a limited license to a professional because you realize that with the limitations that the financial, for instance, limited license has, this particular user is not going to be able to perform something that they need to, and that it's included in one of the other limited licenses. So we're always open to have that conversation with you, but this is a very good document to understand which limited license has access to what, and take that into account when working with this type of issue. The other scenario that we might find for a user being limited as to what they can do in the system is related to authorizations in the system. How do we know that we are in front of an authorization issue? This can show in two different types of pop-up windows. The first one, and the screenshot is really bad quality, I apologize for that. The first one here reads, "You are not permitted to perform this action," and it actually gives you the option to perform this action with somebody else's authorization. So if you have a user that has more authorizations than you and he's close by, you can click on this button here, and then the user that has more authorizations will be asked to log in the system in your laptop, and they will be able to authorize as a one-time solution whatever it was that you were trying to achieve. As a permanent solution, you need to go to your system administrator and ask him to change your authorizations if you are asked to perform this action on a regular basis, and then your system administrator will be able to see if that is appropriate. The second pop-up message that you will find, and it can be a little confusing, is this one. It's a system message, and it reads, "To generate this document, first define the numbering series in the administration module." It doesn't have anything to do with numbering series. It has all to do with authorization, so it's a little bit the same as the first pop-up window, but it's not so evident, so we like to include it here. What needs to happen in order to change this is, as I mentioned, you can talk to your system admin, and what they will need to do is they will need to go to the authorizations under administration and system initialization, authorizations, and they will need to look for the user. We're going to pretend that this time it was Tom Brady. He was trying to open a sales order and he couldn't. He received either one of those two messages. And so the system admin would come here, look for the user, then look for the document, the specific document, and they will realize, oh, there's no authorization here. So they change that no authorization to full authorization, and that should solve the issue for Tom with sales orders. There's still another scenario that I want to share with all of you regarding a user not being able to open or find a specific document within the system. If when you started your journey with SAP Business One, you were not meant to touch any sales document, you might have decided not to have the sales module visible. This little icon here that looks like a tool allows you to actually customize this menu for you. So let's imagine that I didn't used to work with sales at all. So in order to simplify my menu, I decided to hide the whole sales module for myself. And then a couple of years go by, and then my boss asks me to work with sales orders. And I come here and I say, I don't even have the sales module. It must be my license. It must be authorizations. When really it's not that. It's just that I need to click here and realize that I actually hid my sales module. So I just make it visible again, and you can go granular here. So I might work with sales, with the sales module, but I never work with blanket agreement. I never do quotations. I only do sales orders, for instance. I might decide to hide everything else in the sales module just to simplify my menu. And so when I open sales, I only have these options, and I don't have the quotations, I don't have the blanket agreement. But if I ever need it again, I can just make it visible again. I will come here, open the sales module, and decide which documents I need. So this is just a brief reminder, because we have seen this, users thinking that it was an issue of authorizations or licenses, when in fact it was only the form settings for their menu, and that was very easy to fix. And that's a wrap for our consensus day and for this session on tips and tricks. Let me share my screen. And I'm gonna share with you the link so that you can rate this session, as you have been doing with all the other sessions. And Marisa and Hannah, I don't know if you have access to the questions we've received. I don't know if they can be answered with the information we have, or we need a little bit more information.
The question from Rafael, it is, if you have a vendor property tax and you pay a one time per year, how you can do this? Rafael, we would need a little bit more of details in order to give you the right answer. Okay, so I guess that Rafael, Erica or Hannah will reach out to you and review this specific scenario with you, okay?
Thank you so much. We have another question from Carlos Luna, and he's asking, in the case that you need to share BL, invoice, or anything else, how to attach for another user?
Carlos, Carlos is one of the main users in Matusalén, I guess, right, Carlos? Are you saying that how to attach for another user? When we are adding an attachment to any of our documents, it is available to all of the users. I'm not sure if I understand your question correctly. But yeah, anytime that I attach I have an attachment, let's say to a sales order or to an invoice, that attachment is available for everyone.
Oh, I think what he means, I think I understand what he means. I think he means if attachments can go to the next document. So when you create a sale, yeah, I think that's it. Is that it, Carlos? I think that's it.
Okay, so in that case, there's a setting in the system now, Carlos, that says that you can carry over the attachment from one document into the target document. So it is only a setting that we need to activate. You don't have it yet. So basically, if you attach, let's say, a bill of lading to the delivery, then at the time that you create the invoice based on that delivery, that attachment will be sent and will be included also at the invoice. So basically, you could start the, let's say, sales order with one attachment, and then in the delivery you add another attachment. So now in the delivery you will have 2 attachments, and then in the invoice you could have 3 attachments. So, and remember, you can have as many as you want to, but yes, there is a setting that let me just check what it is. Well, if there's a question, maybe I can just give you what is the path for that. Okay.
Sure. And sorry, go ahead, Hannah.
Just to add to Marissa's answer, I was looking up the path where that setting resides. So that would be under document settings, the general tab, and then it's called copy attachments from base document to target document.
Perfect.
And
thank you.
my question was going to be, do we know if this setting is new in version 10? Or is this something that was available before? Do you remember?
I don't remember when it was introduced, but we've been coming the version 10 for
so long. I
yes,
know, I know, but this is for Carlos. Carlos, if you go through that route and you don't find this setting, you will soon have it available, because we are working on scheduling an upgrade for your company. So if you're not in version 10 yet, so you might not find it. I seem to recall that this was something new included in version 10. So if you don't find this setting, just let us know and you will be able to use it as soon as you guys upgrade, okay? Super. So we have another question. This one is from Carol, and she's asking, can you post an attachment? Oh, sorry, Carol. Yes, with the abbreviation for the searching filters. I will post it and I will send you an email. Okay. I don't know if you have any other questions right now. I don't see any more questions. Do you guys see any questions that I might have missed?
No, I guess that's it.
Okay. Okay, so I will definitely send an email with those shortcuts for the filtering of the searches. Thank you very much to everyone for being part of this customer day. Thank you, Marisa and Hannah, for your work and for your time today here with our customers. Please remember that we're here to help. That's what we love to do. We love to help you realize the value of your system and use it better so that you can go home earlier and with more to-do list, strike through and more tasks. And we have a fantastic team here at Consensus. You have had the opportunity to meet most of them throughout the customer day. There are even more consultants working that you haven't met in this customer day. So we'll make sure that they are visible on the next customer day and future webinars. Thank you again. Thank you, girls, for being here with me today for this wrap up. And if you want to see the raffle for the giveaway for the remarkable tablet, please join us at 4:30. You just go to the Consensus Customer Day page where you register for your sessions, and there should be a session there so that you can register and watch live who is the lucky winner. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.